If we're gonna do a lower trunk pattern, the best case scenario would be we want the weight transferred from the lower trunk first. So we might have the knee starting in this position, or another way we could potentially do it is have the knee starting in this position, right? But if we want the patient initiating, I think we'd want to be here, right? So either one leg is flexed up or both legs are flexed up this way. And so this is where all that scooting preparatory work came in, right? We want for her to be able to hold this position by herself. If she has extensor tone, that might not be possible. So we might have to start. And I think it's good just for you guys to get the concepts that those preparations can go into any movement, is to start with maybe her in an extensor tone type position. And you can start with a little bit of rotation and get her prepped again, a little dorsiflexion to break some of those synergy patterns. Because I think you saw even a common theme in my videos is most people, even though they could break it themselves, they were really pushing into extension a lot of the time for the lowers. And then hopefully, you know, we'll say you had a stroke, a left-sided stroke, so you're a right hemi. And so hopefully she can bend this one up by herself. And then we might also work on bridging as a preparation, either unilaterally or bilaterally to roll, because she needs to have some sort of push off and lift off. So that's another way, you know, you don't necessarily have to do to prepare for the task, but it's a part of the task, right? So if somebody was having difficulty understanding the next step, that might be something you could do. And then from there, we would work on her just bringing her knees across, right? So you can give over pressure to help her finish the lower trunk movement. You can give some resistance if you want to work on kind of her pushing a little harder and building the movement. But overall, if you're starting with the lower trunk, you could break it down to just the lower trunk, or I could prepare her by having the upper trunk ready, right, in this type of position, and then we could do the whole task. You won't fall, I promise. You can do the whole task like this, right? So still, I prepared the upper trunk, but still the lower trunk was the one that was initiating the pattern. That's where the weight shift was coming from, right? So then, opposite, if we're doing the upper trunk initiated, if I want to modify it, I might do this, right, and make it a little easier for the rest of the body to come over. If I want her to actually practice the task, there's a few different ways we can work on it. I'm going to put this bed a little higher. Now I promise you really won't fall. Okay, so if we were doing upper trunk, whether the leg was modified or not, you know, we could do partial practice here. If she was somebody where I wasn't, maybe she's a patient with Parkinson's, I wasn't really worried about the integrity of her shoulders, I could kind of have her grip my arms and we could kind of go through the motions, right? At rhythmic initiation, we could go through the motions of her attempting to roll on the side. I could come from a behind position and then give a little downward pressure here so she's able to kind of push down on that elbow there and keep the position. I think when we started, I don't remember who asked, but somebody asked, how do we keep them in sideline once they're in sideline if we're going to work on that? And these are all kind of tricks to do it, right? You need the weight to be over on this side. So if I want to work on something, I might need to kind of bring her whole weight over here and kind of have that push through the elbow. If I'm here, I could even, I won't let you fall off, I promise. I might push down on the knee to get that full position, and then you might have to kind of adjust the hips so they're stacked this way as well. And then if we want to break down this task a little bit more, we could have her kind of come over this way, and then we could do that kind of prop, right, where this is a really small table, sorry, do you mind scooting back? Okay. I don't want to scare you.
Don't worry, I'm totally fine.
Okay, so if we're here and we're weight bearing, then I might be coming under here, and I might have her coming on to like the propped elbow, and this might be a way where she can come from this position to this, right, and just work through this motion for weight bearing. So there's a couple things here, right? There's the actual task itself, where I could help her facilitate at the upper trunk or the lower trunk, to complete the task, right? When I'm like helping her in bed. But then there's our task analysis, and what about this task is she having difficulty doing? Is it the initiation of the task where she's trying to first bring her arm across? And if that's the case, then maybe her and I are just working on this to start. Is it the full execution of the role where she can't fully transfer her weight here, and then I might be coming here to help her? Is it the completion of the task, the termination, where maybe she can't get the legs across at the end? Either I modify it or I come down and kind of help with that, or we go back to the leg portions of it. Does everyone kind of understand? These are all in your slides, so we can definitely look through these pictures again, but I try to summarize it and make it like palpable as much as I could for you, so hopefully that helped a little bit. But let's just look at the pictures quickly. Thank you so much.